Welcome back to DSR, and we're returning to Crooked Moon to do the very last subclass, and then I'll be done with all the subclasses in this book, which feels amazing. This is going to be the College of Whistles Bard subclass. Wander with wayward spirits. Old tales speak of the dangers of whistling. The hollow, haunting pitches call to the spirits of the departed and invite them back to the world of the living. Bards of the College of Whistles take these stories and set them to their own warbling tunes, whistling forth their bardic magic and summoning spirits to aid in their travels. These bards wander even more than most of their fellows, drawn to traveling and gathering both stories and ghosts like patches in tattered clothing. Level 3, Handy Haints. Okay, I got to pause here because I didn't know this word, haints, haint. So I had to look it up, and if you're like me, I like learning new things, so here you go. So that is a word originating from southern U.S. Carolina region, and it is a term for ghost, spirit, or malevolent entity. It is a variation on the word haunt, and these ghosts are often described as trapped, malicious, or hungry spirits acting between the world of the living and the dead. So there you go. Knowing is half the battle. You can call forth haints, vagabond spirits. When you inspire a creature with bardic inspiration, you can summon a ghostly apparition that drifts around the inspired target. The haint creates an aura in a 15-foot emanation from the target. The haint vanishes after 1 minute when you summon a new haint. When you use the reaction, it grants you, or if you have the incapacitated condition, or die. Okay. When you summon a haint, choose its form: grump, sad sack, or scamp. Okay. So this is going to float around the target for 1 minute, and then it gives you a special ability to use a reaction on behalf of that target. So it lasts 1 minute until you use the reaction, until you use this feature again, or you become incapacitated or die. All right, there you go. Grump. This red-tinged elderly spirit dressed in threadbare rags threatens your foes and harangues your allies to do better. The inspired creature and its allies within the aura have advantage on charisma intimidation checks and strength saving throws. In addition, when a creature inside the aura deals damage, you can take a reaction to increase the damage dealt to the damage dealt to one target by a roll equal to your bardic inspiration die plus your charisma modifier. So that's interesting. So this is going to last. It's going to give advantage on charisma intimidation and strength saving throws for the duration until you use this reaction, which would boost the creature's damage, like your allies' damage that you put the bardic inspiration on. It's going to boost when you use your reaction to boost their damage with this. Then it's going to end the haint buff. I'm not sure that's worth it. It's probably better to just keep that haint going, just to have advantage on strength saving throws. You may think that strength saving throws don't come up very often. They come up a lot more often for frontliners who are in melee. A lot of monster stat blocks have like melee range features that cause strength saving throws. So yeah, that's going to be good for your frontliner allies. Sad Sack. The bluish, melancholic spirit saps the fervor from your foes. The inspired creature and its allies within the aura have half cover against ranged attacks. In addition, when a creature inside the aura takes damage, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to a roll of your bardic inspiration die plus your charisma modifier. So the reaction reduces the damage. Again, that's not worth expending this, right? Giving the target and your allies within the aura half cover, that's +2 to their AC, +2 to their dexterity saving throws. That's a lot more than a reaction to reduce damage by, at this point, 1d6 +3 damage. Yeah, let the thing run for a whole minute. Maybe in the last round when it's going to end anyway, then reduce the damage. Then we've got the Scamp option, which is the gold-hued childlike spirit delights and invigorates your allies. When the inspired creature or its allies starts a turn in the aura, that creature's speed increases by 10 until the end of its next turn. In addition, when a creature inside the aura fails a saving throw, you can take a reaction to let the creature reroll the d20. So this one's kind of the opposite. That 10-foot movement speed boost isn't as good as the ability to, or the reroll of a failed saving throw. Right? Some classes have rerolls, not a lot of them. Like the monk can reroll everything at level 14. They're just OP once they reach level 14. Everyone else kind of stuck with it, right? Fighters get Indomitable to allow a reroll. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably use Sad Sack most of the time, just to reduce the chance that basically that's going to cover most of the party, if not the whole party. So you're reducing the amount of damage the whole party's taking. +2 AC is good. It stacks with everything except other sources of cover, right? So that's pretty good. That's probably the best one. Just run that all the time, unless you are in a specific scenario where you need to, you're in a social encounter and you need to intimidate the NPCs and doing what you want, then use maybe Grump, or there's some sort of monster you're facing that just imposes all kinds of strength saving throws. Otherwise, just use Sad Sack all the time. If you're fighting something that casts spells that are just has these devastating control spells, then maybe put the Scamp on people. But oh yeah, you can only put one of these haints out at a time. All right, so you can't put a different haint on different creatures. You can only have one haint out at a time, which is probably good because otherwise, this having multiple of these auras and just stacking all three of them, it would have been ridiculously overpowered. So we're starting off good here at level 3. This is pretty good. Level 3 feature, Whistling Wanderer. You've shaped the superstition of whistling to the dead into a potent instrument. You gain the following benefits. Wanderer's Bindle. When you finish a long rest, you can touch a non-magical bag, sack, or similar container and turn it into a magical container called a Bindle. The container functions as a handy haversack or Heward's handy haversack. If you create a second Bindle, if your Bindle is more than 1 mile away from you, or when you die, the Bindle loses its magic and anything inside appears in an unoccupied space closest to the container. All right, so that's cool. I mean, the handy haversack, this one got buffed. It still can't contain as much as, if I recall correctly, as much as a bag of holding. It's like 250, but it has other better features, like the fact that retrieving something from it is a bonus action, whereas retrieving something from a bag of holding is a full action. Whistled spells. You can whistle in place of verbal components for your bard spells. Observers unfamiliar with the tradition must succeed on a DC 15 Intelligence Arcana check to recognize your spellcasting for what it is by whistled verbal components alone. Okay. So if it's verbal components only, then they may not recognize it. But if it's got somatic and material components, then they automatically recognize it as spellcasting. Okay, that's a handy little feature, and bards do get a number of spells that are verbal only. Cool. So I kind of like do this with spells in general, except you have to succeed first on an ability check to disguise what you're doing. Like they still see you're doing something, but if you succeed at performance or sleight of hand or deception, you can disguise your spellcasting as not spellcasting, right? And then observers have to roll an opposed ability check against that. With this, you basically automatically have a DC 15 where they may not recognize it if it's verbal only. This would have been better if they set it to your spellcasting save DC instead of just a flat DC 15. That would have been better. I would not fault any DMs for just hand waving that and say it's your spell save DC instead of a flat 15. Level 6, Homeward Bound. You can whistle to conjure a ghostly train that returns you and your companions to a known destination. When you finish a long rest, you can leave a mark at that location using paint, chalk, carving, or some other medium, which can be erased, defaced, or destroyed normally. Thereafter, you can use this feature to cast Teleportation Circle using the mark as the destination. When you cast a spell in this way, a phantom train whistles away creatures who enter the circle, and you can't do so again as you finish a long rest. You can have a number of marked locations equal to your Charisma modifier at one time, minimum of 1 location. If you mark a location beyond your maximum, one of the previous marks of your choice fades. When you reach level 9 in this class, you always have the Teleportation Circle prepared and can use any of your marked locations as the destination when you cast it. Any of your marked locations. Does that mean you no longer have a restriction on how many marked locations you can? I think that's what that is. You can have any number of marked locations now. Okay, so this is interesting. Teleportation Circle is a 5th level spell, and we're going to be able to cast that at 6 when we are 6th level. So that's a lot earlier than full casters can get access to that spell normally. I don't think that's overpowered because it's just, a fast travel spell. That's cool. All right. Also at level 6, Ride the Rails. You can whistle as a magic action to summon a spectral locomotive into existence, so another train. It hurtles forward in a 120-foot long, 10-foot wide line from you, and it doesn't have to snap to the grid, DM's decision. And it passes through objects and creatures. You and up to 6 willing creatures of your choice within 30 feet of you can hitch a ride on the train. You teleport to an unoccupied space of your choice in the line, and any creatures who accompanied you appear in the closest unoccupied space to you. So you can suddenly appear, teleport the whole party 120 feet away. Each other creature in the line must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or have the deafen condition until the start of your next turn, which is pretty minor. Deafen doesn't really do anything. Be pushed up to 10 feet straight away from the line's point of origin and take an amount of psychic damage equal to 3 rolls of your bardic inspiration die. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of level 3, plus no action required to restore your use of it. That's interesting. Okay. So it's a little bit of battlefield repositioning. So you can teleport the whole party up to 120 feet away, potentially deal, like at this level, 3d8 damage to enemies in the line, and it's 10 feet wide, which means if your DM doesn't require you to snap to the grid for area effects, you can put it halfway across those two outer squares and get a line of creatures 3 feet wide. Sorry, 3 creatures wide, 3 squares wide, which would be, still 10 feet, but it's covering half of those two edge squares. So that's not going to be nearly as much damage like a lightning bolt, but it's going to be a better area than a lightning bolt. It also has no friendly fire. It's also a reposition, so you teleport the party to a safer location, potentially moving the enemies. So if there's like a chasm, you could teleport the party to the other side of the chasm and potentially push a bunch of monsters into the chasm because it's a 10-foot push. That's a cool feature, and you can use it with your third level spell slots without casting a spell. So if you can cast a spell like as a bonus action, then you can do this as your action. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. This is sweet. Level 14, last stop. The ghostly shrill of your whistle now draws the living closer to the world of the dead. As a magic action, you blow a whistle that is audible up to 300 feet away. Up to 6 creatures of your choice that you can see within the range must succeed on a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC or be cursed. When a cursed target takes psychic damage, it has the frightened condition to where the source of that damage until the end of its next turn. The first time a cursed target takes psychic damage, it has vulnerability to psychic damage. The target repeats the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. After 1 minute, it succeeds automatically. So it's the first time only, not the first time per turn. Okay, after 1 minute, it succeeds automatically, which is just another way of saying the duration of this effect is 1 minute. Once you use a feature, you can't do so again until you finish long rest unless you expend a spell slot of level 7 or higher. No action required to restore your use of it. All right, so this is interesting. So clearly, this is intended to, I don't know if it's intended, but you could combo this with your level 6 Ride the Rail. So do this one first, and then you curse the enemies for 1 minute. Then you start hitting with psychic damage, which bards have a lot of psychic damage spells. That's like the majority of their damage spells are psychic. Now, once you get level 10, you get magical secrets, and you can take anything from cleric, druid, and wizard spell lists, and then diversify whatever you want. But with this, you would definitely want to maintain a good helping of psychic damage spells, especially Synaptic Static, right? Use this, then Synaptic Static. They're going to have vulnerability against all of the damage from Synaptic Static. That's going to be awesome. Because that thing does 8d6 psychic damage in the same area, in a 20-foot sphere, same area as a fireball. And this will double that because of the vulnerability. So equivalent of 16d6. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But you could also use this before you use Ride the Rails, and then they would take, have vulnerability to this psychic damage, which would be at this level, that would make it, it would be 3d10 with vulnerability, would make it the equivalent-ish of 6d10. Not quite as good as Synaptic Static combo, but it's still a good combo. Then we've got Whistles and Wanderings. The Wandering Visits table offers suggestions on places you visited during your travels, where you met the various spirits drawn to your whistles. You can use the examples as they're given, mix and match the locations of and the spirits, or create your own. So first, you found an abandoned tavern with a single place still set at a table in the corner. A melancholy spirit waited there for someone who would never arrive. Scorched foundations are the only remains of a cottage that burned long ago. The echo of a singing child watched over travelers who stopped there. You stayed in a manor house's haunted tower quarters. The angry spirit there is the remnant of someone who died, old and infirm, helpless to stop the wickedness they saw from afar. The mournful song of a lingering soul drew you to an old covered bridge, the only place where the spirit found hope in life. An orphanage with a positive reputation housed the hopeful shade of a child who died of sickness. It was a companion to other orphans until they grew or were taken in by homes. That's kind of cool. It's not just an imaginary friend, it's a literal ghost. So the kids, only kids can see it, and the adults think it's an imaginary friend, but it's a real ghost. A misty roadside meadow was once the site of a terrible battle. The spirit of a soldier who died there vented its fury against con artists and bandits who preyed upon the roadway. Great inspiration. Love it. Glad that they do that. All right, let's rank this thing. So I'm going to give it an A overall. This is a solid subclass mechanically. It's and it follows a good mechanical theme as well. Not to mention the flavor, which is always S tier in Crooked Moon. Like they just crushed it with their flavor and art. So this one is an A overall, A for doing a multi-class dip, and its three best categories is going to be an A as a controller that it's adding, A for support, and A for mobility. And bards are already good at support and control. And so this is giving you another helping of those things. They don't normally have a lot of mobility options. This is going to add to that, so that's great. And then they're also going to have a C's worth of blaster functionality added. There's a little bit of that there with these level 6 and 14 features, the ride the rails and last stop. And then a C's worth of face functionality, and that's coming in with the ability to give yourself, by virtue of putting on an ally, but you would still be within the emanation, advantage on charisma intimidation checks, which is, if it was all charisma checks, I would have given that an A for face. But it's only intimidation, which is not the majority of those kind of situations. Depends on whether or not your players group is a bunch of murder hobos or if they actually try to like role play social situations. So yeah, this is a good one. Here it is in context of all of the other partner classes and subclasses that I've rated so far. I've done 77. I don't think I'm not even close to halfway, but I've done 77. So we're getting there. So here's the Bard College of Whispers, or Whistles. Sorry, Whistles. It's A ranked. And you can see that overall, the Crooked Moon book did really good. Not a single B, one S, and three S1s. So they went a little too far on those S1s, but I think there's some easy changes we can make to bring those back. So I think I'm going to add that at some point. But this is a great book. Like the art is fantastic, the flavor is fantastic. They do such a good job with their storytelling, and then their mechanics really well built as well. This is a really good book. I recommend it. Only one other partner content book has that all their content that well balanced. It's Exploring Eberron. That book, fantastic. All A's, three S's, not a single thing that was S1, and not a single B. So very well balanced book. And then this isn't actually a book. This is Comrade Warner's. He has his own YouTube channel. He has a Patreon where he posts his his content that he makes. He makes something, at least one, I think, every month that he comes out with. I've done 4 of his subclasses so far. Every one of these is very well balanced, like just solid A's, and that's the exact place you want to be. Just A, not S, not B. A. Everything should be an A in the game as far as I'm concerned, and he has done a very good job of that. If this dude makes a book, I'm going to be all over it. Okay, that's it for this one, and that's the last subclass in Crooked Moon. So, thanks for watching. If you don't have D&D in your life, check the video description. You can find a link to join my Discord. You can find a link to join to find me on Start Playing Games if you want. If you're the kind of person who likes ranking things and rating things and comparing things and analyzing things, I would love your help with this. Give me some comments if you think I got anything wrong. Please put that on the appropriate video that you want to adjust the rating on. Otherwise, it'll be very confusing for me to look it all up. Or if you want to have like more in-depth discussions and you want to get like into rating, and just debating everything I've ranked, wonderful. That's the best done on my Discord. I've got a channel dedicated to helping me refine these ratings. And yeah, I do change ratings on a regular basis based on people's feedback. It only gets better when more people get involved. Okay. So I would love help. Remember to be cool when you play D&D. This is a game, and the only point of it is to have fun with your friends. Okay. So please be cool. All right. Catch you next time.